as part of a series to discuss the northern Ghana. And today, basically, we wanted to have a discussion with different panelists on how to support a coordinated development in northern Ghana with an innovative digital platform. For those of you who were in the launching of the platform, I think about two months ago in Tamale, we basically had the chance to discuss what this innovative digital platform was. And I think today is an occasion, it's an opportunity for us to continue to discuss this. And we have several panelists here present today. We have Dr. Suleimana, the board chair of the Northern Development Authority. We have Matthias Berthold from the JIZ. We have Emily Schaeffer from USAID. We have Kathleen Flynn Dapa from Global Affairs Canada and Paul Edwards from FCDO. So they will be our panelists today, and I will give them, the floor when we'll have the discussion. So we will start, with a presentation, and then we will have a panelist discussion. So you will see, on the sidebar, you can put some comments. Oh, sorry, the U.S. Department of State. Sorry, my mistake. From Emily. And so, as Emily used, you can actually use the little sidebar to ask questions when we'll be doing the discussion. But first, let me maybe hand over the floor for the opening remarks. And Ashutosh, who is doing the opening remarks today? Sorry, I saw that.
So our Chief Director from the Ministry of Local Government, Mr. Amin, is going to make the opening remarks.
Okay, Mr. Amin Abdul Rahman, the Chief Director of LMG DRD. I'm giving the floor to you now, and so that you can make the opening remarks, and then we will start. Amin, the floor is yours.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, very good. So,
good
afternoon to you.
Afternoon. My name is Azor Cletus from Bungu in the Upper East region.
Okay, great. Yes, Ashutosh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Chief Director, we can hear you very clearly. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I was having a bit of challenges, so I'm actually using my phone. Yes. Yeah, so good afternoon to you all, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all of you. It is an honor to have you join us today for this significant BBL on supporting coordinated development in Northern Ghana with an innovative digital platform. As the Chief Director, it is my pleasure to open this discussion and share some insights into the potential of our innovative digital knowledge management platform. Like many regions, as you're all aware, Northern Ghana faces a unique challenge that is coordinated and innovative to development. As we all know, several partners have implemented programs in this over the years. Results, no doubt. But our strategies would make our impact larger, and that can only come through coordinated collaboration and information sharing. You will know that in March 2024, the ministry launched the Digital Knowledge Management Coordination Platform, known as the KMP. The aim is to make various partners aware of the platform and its potential to improve coordination among development programs and enhance efficiency, accountability in public service delivery at the local government level. Today, we are happy to hear perspectives from the international development community on the digital KMP and how they can use and contribute to this digital platform to significantly improve coordination and collaboration at the local level in Northern Ghana. I wish to conclude my brief remarks by saying that the digital platform has the potential to transform the way we approach development by providing access to real-time data and analytics. This will allow us to make informed decisions that address the specific needs of our communities. It is also to enable us to allocate resources more effectively, monitor the impact of our interventions, and promote transparency and accountability. Above all, it will empower our local communities by giving them a voice in the development process and ensuring that their needs and priorities are at the forefront of our efforts. With these brief remarks, I look forward to a very productive and inspiring BBL, and I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr.
Over to you, Nicola. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you. So thank you. So maybe let's kickstart the process. I will give the floor to Ashutosh Rena, who is the task team leader for the Ghana Social Cohesion Project from the World Bank, and Elizabeth Oenewa Agiai, who is the acting project coordinator for the same project, working with the ministry. So I leave the floor to you. So you have the presentation, we'll do the panel discussion.
Okay, thank you very much, Nicola, and good afternoon, everyone. I think with this remarks, we would want to first share a video that would briefly explain what the digital KMP is about, and then we'll continue from there. So the video would come up first. Thank you.
Over the years, there's been various interventions by many actors in the North in the bid to foster growth and development through the provision of social amenities, economic and livelihood empowerment activities, among others. However, despite these increasing and varied interventions, the striking disparity in the development of northern and southern Ghana still lingers. A key gap that contributes to this situation is the limited coordination and information sharing about development partners and programs operating at the local government level. There are multiple development programs or initiatives ongoing in an ad hoc manner in northern Ghana. These programs or initiatives are implemented by a mix of government, non-government, and development partners, with each project operating in isolation. Despite some investments in development programs, the desired development impacts are yet to be achieved, and poverty remains high in the north of Ghana. There's therefore the need for these development actors to work together to augment and complement efforts in achieving a comprehensive and holistic development of the North. The SOCO project seeks to serve as a catalyst in promoting a coordinated approach towards northern development and recognizes information sharing as playing a critical role in reducing duplication of efforts and the lagging development of the North. The Knowledge Management and Coordination Platform, KMP, serves as a digital single-source data repository for information and knowledge sharing under SOCO. It is one of the tools the project seeks to use to promote a coordinated development approach in the north of Ghana. Currently being piloted in Nkwanta South District of the Oti region, the Knowledge Management and Coordination Platform has four main facets. 1. Investment Register, which showcases all physical infrastructure existent within SOCO districts and their status, i.e. ongoing, completed, stalled, or abandoned. 2. The Northern Development Database, which provides the demographic information of the population within SOCO areas and their fragility, conflict and violence-related issues such as incidents of conflict, social cohesion, trust, local governance, and citizen engagement, etc. 3. Research Catalog. This catalog captures existing research related to the themes and research conducted under the project, such as scoping studies, baseline studies, and other thematic studies. 4. The Coordinated Approach facet focuses on identifying community investment needs. These investments are geospatially captured on maps to show fulfilled and outstanding investment needs and information on the investing organizations. This will set the pace for the enhancement of regional collaboration, subsequently ensuring that the SOCO project achieves its goal of providing coordinated solutions that effectively respond to local needs, thinking regionally, acting locally.
Thank you very much. So basically, what the system has tried to do is to make sure that there is an outlay that is in place, a digital outlay where there's a source for which people can access this kind of information in the various facets that it has mentioned. Currently, the piloting of this digital knowledge management platform is has been done in the OT region that has had a number up to about almost 200 projects that have been identified in various stages, and other needs that have also been picked up through some of these community engagements. And those needs where the location may be has also been indicated on this system. So there's a platform where you can go identify and then be able to know which ones have been done and then which ones will also require support from that level. And basically that is what the system has tried to do. And in doing this, we do not aim to work alone. So beyond this pilot, we are, like we are doing today, engage partners, because we don't want to do, as we are professing in terms of collaboration, we do not want to work alone. It's an agile system where we want to change as we go along. And of course, these discussions also come to perfect the systems that we are doing and then looking at. Beyond this point, we also aim to build the collaboration and the partnerships that will help to make this system usable by all, and making sure that whoever requires it is able to get the full use of it, whether at the local government level or at the international level. The whole aim is to make sure that the communities are served and the synergies that we are looking at is also achieved. So in doing this, eventually, we would also want to scale it up to the various regions, the 48 regions, and then eventually to all the other regions within the 6 regions, and then at a national level as we look at it. Beyond this, we would want to institutionalize and making sure that the government has full ownership of it, and then it's within the system. As of now, this system is even being hosted by the NITA, which is under the Ministry of Communication. It is always already, let me say, within the government domain. So it is nothing that is really outside. As a project, sometimes it ends, sustainability becomes an issue. But currently, these are systems that are in place that could be used by all. And of course, in the long term, could be sustainable, if I should put it that way. I think beyond that point, I would let Ashutosh continue as well. Thank you.
Okay, Elizabeth, thank you very much. Akwa, can you please go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so I just want to just have one slide. So I just want to focus on some of the key features of this platform. Number one, as Elizabeth mentioned, this platform is fully owned and led by the government. The World Bank has been supporting the government to have this platform. And all the platform, the development and design of the platform has been done by the team in the government, and the servers are in place, and the government is following all the data protocols of the government. And the idea is to basically make sure that, as Elizabeth mentioned, that government can take it beyond the project, and it could cover all the other, it could become more like a one platform that could be leveraged by different projects and partners going forward. Secondly, in terms of scale, in Northern Ghana, we're currently working in 48 districts, and there are total 64 districts in North. Government is planning to scale up the platform across all the districts in the North. So the scale of this platform is going to be important. It will cover all the districts and all the regions in the North as well. And third point is basically on the institutionalization. And the project is focusing a lot to make sure that it's fully decentralized in the local government systems. As this is under the Ministry of Local Government, we're trying to work out ways to make sure this is fully integrated with the local government system going forward. And lastly, this platform is not for SOCO or a Ministry of Local Government. We're envisaging this platform as a multi-stakeholder platform, bringing all the local ecosystem players on the platform. And since this platform, as Elizabeth mentioned, we have started testing this platform in one of the regions, UT regions. We want to make sure we co-create the platform and scale it up in the next 12 months so that this platform is being used across all the districts and regions in the north after 1 year. Back to you, Nicola. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ashutosh, and thank you very much, Elizabeth, also for the presentation. So let maybe start the panel discussion. So as you can see, we have about 35, 40 minutes for the panel discussion. So let me turn first, to the development partners who are there, and I wanted to basically ask them a question. I mean, on how the development partners utilize or contribute to the digital platform to strengthen the coordination and collaboration at the local government level in northern Ghana. So so each about 3 minutes, and then we go to another question. So first, Emily from the US Department of State. I mean, how do you see this platform, and how can basically how
the regional coordinator for the U.S. Global Fragility Acts strategy to prevent conflict and promote stability, SPCPS. So we, along with many other donors, have very similar goals here in coastal West Africa. Our Global Fragility Act is focused on, promoting social inclusion, looking at government service delivery, helping to support government service delivery and responsiveness to vulnerable communities, and also at security force accountability and responsiveness to vulnerable communities. So the whole philosophy of Global Fragility Act is to do things to look at the underlying causes, underlying grievances, prevent violent extremism. So very much aligned goals. And I think World Bank, SOCO, and a lot of donors are all sort of aligned in our goals here. But of course, we know that there are risks and concerns of if we are floods of new money are flooding into communities that have never seen this money before in an uncoordinated way. So I think this is really important to a major step in helping us improve our coordination so that we avoid things like inflation, fueling unintended conflict and other consequences, corruption that might result with sort of an uncoordinated flood of money and investment into small communities. So thanks for the opportunity to provide input. When I started this job back in September, I'm regional, so I couldn't find any sort of mapping of activities across the region, so I was really happy to learn, after a few months ago, that World Bank is working on these databases, not just for Ghana, but for the other countries as well, is my understanding. And we are, excited to be in touch with fellow coordinators, World Bank coordinators in the other coastal West Africa countries. What I would just suggest, and I would just note, some of my suggestions are based on feedback from my, USAID colleagues and state colleagues and DOD. And I would just note, part of my efforts early on to improve the mapping and gap analysis of what all the donors are doing in coastal West Africa was to engage some graduate students from the University of Notre Dame, or Notre Dame, in the United States, and they have put together they've spoken to a lot of donors and including the World Bank, I believe, and they've put together sort of a report, a sort of a gap analysis report on analyzing donor contributions and preventing violent extremism here in coastal West Africa. So they're happy to do a more in-depth presentation if there's interest at a future date. But some of the questions and feedback that we had would be just if it could be clear how often the World Bank SOCO community liaisons are collecting the demographic and other indicators, context-specific indicators. How often are they updating that information and uploading it into the database? Just interesting to know. And how long will this data collection continue? Is this 10-year program? Is this 5 years? Is this going to be a permanent database? Because some of the findings that through our Notre Dame research was it would be really useful, I think, to have a permanent database that's sort of ongoing, and whether the Ministry of Local Government or whether a third party would maintain it could be worked out. But the main suggestion we would have would be, could it allow for other donors to input their comments or information, so that it becomes sort of a voluntary, comprehensive donor picture. So for example, in northern Ghana, donors could add a comment like, we are also doing X community infrastructure project in this district, and we are also doing this social cohesion project in this district, and provide some standardized details that donors could also perhaps for unfunded community projects, donors could also indicate interests like, oh, we'd like to fund this. So if there are community projects that have been labeled as abandoned or stalled or unfunded, maybe other donors could click that they would like to fund those projects. So that would, I think, go a long way to increasing efficiency and comprehensiveness and impact, and making sure that we're using our scarce, taxpayer money in the most impactful way, and really aligning and not throwing redundant resources at communities that would be overwhelmed. So thanks so much, and yeah, look forward to further questions.
Very much, Emily. So let me maybe turn back to Matthias Berthold from GIZ. I mean, the same questions. I mean, how do you think development partners can utilize or contribute to such a digital platform for Northern Ghana?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, first of all, also for organizing this important brown bag lunch. And I was very happy when I saw the video and also the further elaborations on all the important aspects, what I feel have already been considered. And I feel a very important point is the ownership of the local government services or government of Ghana for this platform. Because I think such a platform, the biggest value is for the Ghanaian partners, because it can help them in their mandate to coordinate development in Northern Ghana. So I'm working in WA in a project, it's called Resilience Against Climate Change. So where we try to develop opportunities and ways for communities to become more climate resilient. And the way we do this is to also strengthen planning capacities of the district assemblies, and start basically from the community upwards. So together with NDPC, we have developed a community action planning guideline. And what we already realize is that we enable planners from the district to go to communities, to gather a lot of data, to identify a lot of needs at the communities. And our feeling is that what's happening with this data, if this data is staying on paper, and maybe is some small things are just picked out from this data to develop a medium-term development plan or an annual action plan, that's a good point. But I think this data can be used for much more. And such a platform, for me, it's a step towards really a data-driven approach. So, and we have other existing platforms already. My feeling is if whatever is being developed here now with this platform, and this is really owned by government of Ghana, this is a possibility to link this up also with other databases. And if we really look down the road, then this can become something like a decision support tool. And this would then again enable partners at various levels, from the national level, but also down to ultimately to the community, to help them decide, okay, where do we want to put our focus, where do we want to put our attention? And yeah, I think this is also then logically only a benefit for the development partners, because such information would help development partners in programming, prioritizing, designing measures or certain envelopes where they want to focus their funding. And then, yeah, this is like such a platform, data-driven approach can become kind of a hub that supports everybody and every stakeholder involved there to make the right decisions. And yeah, maybe so far. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Matthias. Let me go to Paul Edwards from FCDO. I mean, the same question. I mean, how do you see this platform could be used, and what opportunities you think it could create for collaboration?
Thanks very much for having me on your panel today. I think it's really interesting to hear all this. I think everybody would agree that knowledge sharing is really vital to getting the best value from the work we all do. And it's really useful to have that information. So a platform like this can do, I think, three important things. The first is to make sure we complement but don't duplicate what others doing. It shows where the vulnerabilities are in terms of geographically, but also cause and effect. So if we can see where unemployment is a bigger issue than perhaps education, then we'll know where to direct what we're doing. And hopefully it can create a feedback loop in terms of what we do and what's working and what's not working, so we can learn from what's gone before. I had a question, the information on there at the moment, and that others will be asked to input. What is the donors of this looking to gather all the information of all donors? And if so, what do you need from development partners, project implementers, and the government of Ghana at all the levels to make this a success? Because data is only as good as the information that you've got, and it has to cover the areas that we're interested in, and it has to be good quality. And when you've got the right data, also people who are using the platform need to be able to access it easily. If it's too complicated or if there's just too much data there, I can see that you'll find that people won't be able to use it effectively. So the two questions is how comprehensive the platform will be, and what do you need from development partners and others to make this platform a success?
Very much, Paul. So let's go to Kathleen. Kathleen, I mean, you had some problems with the connection. I mean, is it better now? Can you hear us from Global Affairs Canada?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me okay, though? Because
yeah,
my connection isn't great.
Very well.
Is the sound okay? Okay.
The sound is perfect,
excuse me,
yes.
I won't turn on my camera because that will destroy things. So I think I don't want to
did you hear
reiterate
the question?
too many of the points. I managed to hear.
Okay.
Yes, I heard the question, and
was
I've heard
about
most of Emily and then Matthias and Paul.
Yes, I mean, so the question was the same for everybody. Is, I mean, what do you think? I mean, how can development partner utilize and contribute this digital platform to strengthen the coordination and collaboration at the local government level in Northern Ghana? So back to you.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I do think it's important that we find ways to be much more deliberate in terms of both collaboration and coordination. And I think other people have raised in the chat and on the line, there are some other platforms like the District Center for Commerce, Agriculturally and Technology platform that works at the district level. So there are other mechanisms that are collecting this data. So it would be good to understand how these would relate to one another. And I think looking down the road, sort of how this would be sustainable over time beyond the SOCO project, because there are costs to maintaining these types of platforms. But overall, I mean, I can see a few areas where I think it would be very useful. One is just to say I'm less convinced that there is a lot of duplication in our work. Except in the area of certain types of data gathering, where we go out and ask the same people the same types of questions because we all want to do data-informed work. And I do think that's one area of duplication that we can eliminate, but also eliminating it because the beneficiaries are being brought into that a lot. I actually think there's a bigger problem, which is fragmentation. And that's where I see this coming together, especially on the collaboration side of things, which is, what we're doing is not necessarily directly duplicating one another, but we're not getting the benefit of collaboration and of making the sum greater than the parts. And that there are also gaps. There are places where people aren't working, where we have things that do work, that are showing success, but we don't necessarily have that mapping to show where it is. And sometimes collaboration can come when we see that, this other development partner has done something that's worked very well in here, and it's relevant to the work I'm doing, and we can find ways to either replicate what they were doing, engage the local partners that they were engaging with, or actually bring in together some, co-funding to fill those gaps. And so, this idea of vulnerabilities, geographically or in terms of creating the full package of interventions that contribute to social cohesion in a particular geography are important. So for me, I think that's really a critical part of this. And I would just say, and kind of similar to Paul's intervention, finding the way to make this, I think, user-friendly and accessible to different partners is going to be very important. So, there is that challenge. You want it to be robust and comprehensive enough, but you don't want it to be so difficult to search through. And, there's opportunity to load, potentially information that can come from different annual reports and things from projects. So it has to be some type of database where you can mine for what you need and receive it in the format that it's existing in, not, development partners trying to put things in a new format again and again, because I think that's where we fall down often on these types of initiatives. It's a lot to take what you're doing that's developed in certain contexts and then put it into the others. But overall, I think the platform itself and this idea of actually having a place, when I mentioned this panel to my head of mission and what it was about, her first words were, "Thank God." Like, we really need this. We need to know that we can go and look at things. And as it's not just to develop projects, but many projects are developed and approved, but then they go through an additional design period before they go into implementation, where doing these mapping exercises, these baseline assessments are really important. And this can be a really significant feed into that. And I think what's important is that it is government owned. And so we are working from, national priorities when we're working off of this platform. So I don't want to repeat what others have said beyond that. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Kathleen. So let me go back to maybe the team, to Elizabeth and Ashutosh, because I mean you had a lot of I mean all of you had some points that maybe could justify some answers now. I mean I think there was this question about the, so can you mute the microphone? Not mute my microphone, but yeah, no, okay, thank you. So basically, I mean, there was some question about how comprehensive basically this database will be, and also the sustainability and the user friendliness of the data. And I saw there was also some questions on the sidebar. So let's maybe go back to the team so they can maybe answer some of these comments. Ashutosh, Elizabeth, to you.
Okay, Nicola, thank you. So Nicola, just to respond to a couple of points. So the platform was set up and we had been working in Ooty region in one of the local governments to test it for last 4 or 5 months. And the idea of testing was to make sure that this is user friendly from the perspective of the local governments, because they will be an important user of this. But as we have mentioned, this work is under progress, and we will be working more closely with multiple partners so that in the next few months, several months, we make it very user-friendly for other partners as well. Answering the question that Emily had asked, yes, what we intend is to create a platform where different partners will have access and they can access the platform, they can add to the platform, contribute to the platform directly. And so, as we mentioned, it's a multi-stakeholder platform that we are envisaging. And we will also be having a workshop on 11th of June during our upcoming mission in SOCO, where we invite different partners to deep dive into some of these things in a more detailed manner. In terms of linkage with existing platforms and sustainability, I think the discussions we're having at the local government level right now, as we are testing it, we're trying to see how we can embed this into the local government planning and coordination process as well. For example, in the district where we are rightly testing it, it's led by the district planning officer, who is actually taking a lead in basically operationalizing this into a local government. So we see this next 6 months very important for us in terms of testing, and this BBL being very important, and upcoming workshop that we have on July very important, where we take all this feedback from different partners, and we would like to engage the different partners to play a very active role as we develop the platform. And lastly, in terms of there is also going to be a discussion about how we can also see different development partners who are working on data, collection of doing analytics, to also their teams contributing to this development as we go forward. So maybe I will also like to acknowledge from the ministry, we have Richard who is leading the digital work within the SOCO PIU and the ministry, playing a very critical role in shaping up this platform, along with Aqua knowledge management person, and then teams from local governments. So we have a team, and we intend to expand this team in the next few months, so that we can really do this work in a more systematic manner. I will hand it over to Elizabeth to answer any questions. And if there is anything, I think there's a question around NITA, maybe Richard or Elizabeth can also answer that. Over to you, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ashutosh. I believe basically on the NITA, Richard will pick it up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ashutosh. So the question was, what informed the decision to let NITA host the platform and not the ministry? I think the DDP is a system which is used to track the performance of the district assemblies. And then the digital knowledge and coordination platform is also a system that SOCO is trying to implement to achieve a synergy within the district assembly that we are working in. The issue is that we are regulated, and then we've been directed by the government to host all our data on NITES servers. So I think the DDDP is also hosted on NITES servers. That is the distinction here. Thank you, and over.
And just
so
to also...
just to add to that, basically it's just to indicate that it's nothing that is hosted out of the government system, and that even beyond SOCO, it is within the possession of the government, and any institution can be assigned. NITA is a national system, so any institution can be, that kind of section of that government system can be reassigned to any institution that at the end of the day is supposed to be working on it. So DDDP actually sits on the same NITA system that we are working, all belonging to the same Ghana government, basically. Like you said, in terms of the distinction between, which has also come up in the other questions, the DDDP and then the SOCO KMP, yes, they are all monitoring, but they have different indicators that they are monitoring. Our focus under the SOCO project is actually to make sure that we are able to identify and pick up things that are actually pending for further investments. For the other indicators, there's been a lot of discussions that are ongoing. And like we mentioned earlier, one of our main areas that we are focusing on is continuous coordination and discussion, even within the main ministry. But then fundamentally, what we want to do is being a pointer to places where investments can be undertaken, especially in the northern part of the country, to make sure that we are avoiding the duplications that we are that is currently also existing, and making sure that we come together and then the synergies that we are looking for or looking towards is actually achieved. Thank you.
Nicola, just to answer one question, which is around the data collection by Emily. So the project has around 450 community facilitators. They have been provided digital tablets and training to collect data on the ground. And then we also have a partnership with a University of Business and Integrated Development Studies in Northern Ghana, where the graduate students are supposed to go to the communities every year for a month to collect the data from SOCO communities. And then we also have engaged CSOs, civil society organizations, as part of the project to do social audits. So we have multiple ways of collecting the data in the project, and all the data is being digitally collected with tablets and SOCO. We have a SOCO app through which the data is being collected. All this will be then integrated with the platform. And in all these cases, it's all led by the local government. So, and as we mentioned, we're early stages, so we would like to strengthen a lot of these things. There are a lot of areas we'd like to improve as we go on. So we're looking forward to our workshop in June with different development partners to deep dive into it. There's also thinking of having a multi-donor trust fund in futures that will allow us to do this more systematically, not only this, but multiple other areas of work, which we'll discuss further with development partners going forward in June. Back to you, Nicola.
I see there is a lot of questions, and we are running a little bit out of time, and I wanted to give the floor to Dr. Suleimana Abdullahi, the board chair of the Northern Development Authority, so that he could also, share his views about how this database could be used and how basically NDA can leverage this digital platform and the coordination among donors. So let's do that. We have only 12 minutes left, so let me give the floor to Dr. Abdullahi so he can react. And then, depending on the time we have, I will pick up one or two questions from the chat. Okay, thank you. Dr. Abdullahi, to you.
Yeah, okay, thank you very, very much. I think it's been a very lively and very enlightening experience. But what I'd like to start by saying is that I think the knowledge management platform is an excellent idea. And I'm particularly pleased about the initiative because it's led within the Ministry of Local Government, which is really should be the heartthrob of development activity in Ghana, especially at the local level. So I think it's an excellent idea. What I want to say with NTA is that my feeling is that for everything, we need to have a conceptual framework. And for me, it looks to me like the architecture of the KMP touches on the thematic areas, the geographical location, and of course, investment. And then there is the research pillar. The NTA, one of the things we thought would be really helpful in strengthening the architecture of the KMP, and that's something that the various agencies, the development partners, civil society groups, government agencies, in their respective mapping exercises, we all need to recognize that we have thematic areas of interest, which in a way will raise the investment element of it. Then we have the geographical, district, region, local, and so on. And then we have what I also call the institutional. And then I'm talking about the various agencies that are always doing development work, but also themselves doing mapping. And that's the end code pillar, which is really at the end of the day, the data collection, analysis, and everything is in relation to changing the lives of communities and people. And we need to find a way of capturing their some aspect of the information platform should have something that gives ordinary people the opportunity to have a voice, but also to be able to react to what the platforms are doing. And I believe the platform conception also provides dynamism and it will enhance currency in the way we do and validation through the research component, because it gives us this ongoing capacity to update the platform and so on and so forth. Now, what I haven't said that, I wanted to get the point that where NTA comes in is that we feel that working closely with the local Ministry of Local Government, that we are going to be able to enhance this architecture as I've described it. It's not to impose almost like a centralized mechanism for information quality, but it's just to make sure that as an agency that travels all northern region, that we are able to have we sort of a one-stop hub where if anybody came to the NTA to say, I want to do an investment in something, or I want which part of the 5 regions are there problems with water, access to water, and so on and so forth, that we could just with the click of a button be able to do so. And I think this KMP is the first step for us all to achieve it. It will require us to meet and have further discussions on just how to achieve that. And I think finally, for me, the platform provides, working with people with groups like the NTA, and will enhance the sustainability of this idea beyond the SOCO project. Because well into the future, the Ministry of Local Government is going to be there, and hopefully organizations like the NTA will be there. So working with many stakeholders would enhance sustainability of the platform. So that's what I just want to say at this point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have only 8 minutes left. So I will try to be brief on maybe collecting a couple of questions. And if you don't mind, I will try to take the one that did not come from the panelists already, because we have, addressed some of those. I mean, I have a question here from Robert Osetutu, who was asking, does it mean the data is basically from SOCO communities only? Another question from Tontier Binado, who says, may I please know if the platform is already accessible to the public? And if so, how can one access it? There was also a question from Andrew Ginsberg about the possibility to coordinate with humanitarian and development data and sharing information basically on the humanitarian development Peace Nexus using this platform. So maybe I will hand it over to Ashutosh and Elizabeth to answer those 3 questions. So the first one, are we just addressing SOCO community with that platform? Second question, I mean, the accessibility to the public. And the third one about this humanitarian development data Nexus possibility.
Okay, Nicola, quickly, let me first answer the first question. So at the moment, the platform is focusing on SOCO districts, which are 48 districts. We are starting with one local government and then gradually scaling it up to 48 in the next 12 months. But as I mentioned, there's a discussion between the government, the World Bank, to scale up this program to all the districts in the north. So subsequently, in the next couple of years, all the districts, all the clusters, communities could be covered through this platform as we move on. But at the moment, it will be basically SOCO districts and the clusters that we are operating in. In terms of platform is available publicly as we are testing it. And Richard, who's leading this, so he can actually share the link through chat so you can look at the platform as it is right now. And with Andrew, thanks for your question. So we're planning to organize a meeting with the UNHCR to discuss about how we can look at the, development humanitarian, access, and how this platform also could be leveraged from the perspective of a refugee context there. So we'll discuss that in June, when we are planning to have more discussions with UNHCR as well. I don't know, Elizabeth or Richard, anyone who wants to add anything, any question you want to answer?
I think on the questions that Manuel had requested, I'm fine with the responses. Thank you.
Can I just come in quickly? In terms of can I come in briefly on the question? One of the dimensions to this
if you can identify yourself when you talk for people who are connected by phone, please.
Oh, sorry, my name is Abdullah. I'm Abdullah, NGA board chairman. I just spoke a minute ago. I'm just coming back to say that what we have found with our mapping is that we really need to do a lot of work. All the agencies involved in mapping. We need to have some kind of, we need to engage with one another to see how we can fine tune the methodology to use to collect data. Because, for example, we finished mapping and we realized that we hadn't actually touched on the faith-based organizations that have been working in development in the northern Ghana for the last 50, 60, 70 years. And that was quite a big omission. And that came out because of the model that we are using. And there are also added like the traditional institutions that are also doing work, development work at the local level and so on. So I'm just saying that one of the things we need to engage with is the we formulate our system to ensure we learn from what others are doing, come out with something that works for us and for others. Thank you.
Dr. Suleiman. So I think we are reaching the end of that BBL. I'm really sorry, because you see, it's a rich discussion. There is a lot of questions, and I would have liked us to spend a little bit more time discussing, but it was not possible today. But the team will go to, if I understood correctly, we'll go to Ghana soon, and I think there will be other opportunities maybe to continue this discussion and have some follow-up answers on the questions that you raised. I saw that Richard has also shared the link to the digital platform, so I think I encourage everybody to have a look at it, and when the team and the government are organizing some follow-up discussions, I mean, that will give you some example that you can discuss. Let me maybe give the floor to Ashutosh and Elizabeth to say a few words, and then for the closing remark for Dr. Rahamam, the Chief Director of the Ministry. So Ashutosh, if you want to say maybe a closure word, and then I will give the floor to the Ministry.
Sure. So maybe Elizabeth, you can start, then I will add a couple of points. Yeah, thank you.
I would say that it's been a key a productive discussion. Our Chief Director is on the line, so I would keep it simple before he comes in. I think one of the key takeaways from my end is the point of synergizing even within the government sector before going out to outside, to make sure that we have partners that are coming in to use this data. There are several systems that are in place. All of them have their roles that they play. So we need to clarify them as we go, and then make people who would want to use this platform also understand how they are using this platform and the differences between the existing ones, which is very key. I also do appreciate Paul's version, where you talk about complexity and the friendliness of the use of the system, and also how comprehensive that database would be, and then how other mechanisms that and how we relate similar databases that already exist on the ground. And I think that should be enough for me. And thank you very much. Thank you, Nicholas.
Just one point from my side. I think so. The SOCO project in Ghana is a flagship program of the government now, and the government wants to scale it across all the districts in the north. So it's very important that this platform is developed properly with a lot of consultations, collaborations, because the multi-stakeholder platform. So we see that next 12 months will be very important. A lot of effort is required. And I think from the ministry side, what we understand, and from the SOCO stakeholders which are involved in implementation, there's a very deep commitment of acting as a catalyst for the greater ecosystem development and public good. So we look forward to working with all the partners, and this is just a starting. So we will do series of workshops and consultations as we go on. And our next consultation will be in June, on June 11th, where we'll spend some more time with the development partners. So look forward to that as well. So over to Chief Director, Mr. Amin, for your closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ashutosh, and thank you very much for a very excellent moderation, Nicholas. I think that as a ministry, we are very happy about the outcome of these discussions. In fact, it's been very insightful, and almost all the contributions are very useful. We are particularly happy because from what we have gathered from this discussion, there appears to be a common agreement and then acceptance of this innovative digital platform that is expected to create the synergy and the coordination that will require to be able to have a very comprehensive development program in the northern part of the country. But most importantly, the ministry is available to continue to support and facilitate this intervention. And then in the coming days, what we need to be doing is to continue to monitor where we are currently piloting this platform to ensure that when we get to the stage where we want to upscale to the other parts of the SOCO district, we'll be able to do that and do that. And as alluded to by the other discussants, I think that we should be thinking of going beyond just the SOCO districts and see how best we can expand to cover almost all the MMDAs in the northern region, so that we can have a one-stop shop to be able to actually find out at any point in time who is doing what at what time. And then that is the only way we can avoid duplications and then overlaps when it comes to promoting and uplifting the poverty level in the north. So briefly, I want to say that the program, this meeting has been a very successful one. And I think that in the coming days, let's begin to see how best we at various intervals we can to discuss issues that has to do with development of the north, knowing very well that the north generally is lagging behind if it comes to development. The poverty levels, if you look at the indices, you realize the northern region the area that we need to actually concentrate and uplift them from the current circumstances. So on this note, I want to thank you very much for this wonderful discussion. And I hope that we'll continue to work together to see how best we can achieve the goals that we have set for ourselves to be able to impact positively in the northern part of the country. So Nicole, thank you very much for a very excellent briefing. I also want to thank all the panelists for your insightful contributions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ram. So let's finish now. I mean, thank you very much for all the participants, the panelists, and the team for the presentation, and also for all the people who asked questions or participated. I mean, there will be a recording which will be made available. I mean, you see that you have the access to the database as well, and I suppose that the team could also, share the PowerPoint. I noticed that the team will have a follow-up meeting in Ghana, I think, on the 11th of June, where basically, this discussion can continue. So again, thank you everyone, and good luck for the next steps. It looks like a very exciting initiative. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.